Premier Scott Moe invites other provinces to join a Western trade agreement. The province opens a resource center for wildfire victims in Denair Beach. And what's the vision for Wascana Center in Regina?
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. Premier Scott Moe is reaching out to eastern provinces to join the West in reducing interprovincial trade barriers through a current agreement that involves BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Keenan Sorkon has more on Moe's pitch to his counterparts across Canada.
And today, we're going to take another step.
Come one, come all. Premier Scott Moe is inviting premiers across the country to join the New West Partnership Trade Agreement.
Canadians are stronger when we work together, as opposed to when we don't.
The agreement has existed since 2010 between BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan, with Manitoba joining in 2017. Moe says having others sign into the agreement will boost internal trade, promote economic cooperation across provinces, and reduce red tape when working across provincial borders.
We should essentially move the New West Partnership into that space of the Canada Free Trade Agreement, and it would provide, I think, greater opportunities to strengthen companies like Crestline across the nation of Canada.
Crestline Coach, which builds ambulances and buses for public transit and shuttles, says it wouldn't be the company it is today without free trade agreements like New West.
It's allowed us to grow across the country here, but really our prime mountain, and a lot of Canadian companies, their prime market is in the U.S., and so it's really leveraged us to get that growing, and as well as internationally.
With other large companies looking at additional projects or expansion within Saskatchewan, Moe says opening up skilled labor is a major benefit of the agreement.
It's the clearest and most straightforward path towards not only free and fair trade, but the ability for those that are working in careers to move across Canada as well.
With the invitation going out on Thursday, Moe couldn't say what sort of response he expects. Moe says there's no deadline when provinces can sign on, but he urges them to do so sooner rather than later. Keenan Sorkon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Now, the Premier also weighed in on the province's scrap tire recycling program after an Ontario company struck a deal to recycle the province's used tires. Now, last week, the Tire Stewardship of Saskatchewan, which is responsible for managing recycled tires, says Emterra Tire Recycling will build a plant near Saskatoon and be operational by mid-2026. Sheercom, located just north of the city, was doing that work for years until the stewardship wanted another operator 3 years ago. Sheercom says once it lost its ability to recycle used tires, it was forced to lay off about 90 staff, and its plant now sits idle. When asked if he was confident in the tire stewardship, the Premier had this to say.
We're still working with them with respect to, what this looks like moving forward. And listen, the primary goal is that tires are being recycled and they're not ending up in municipal landfills.
Tires have been piling up at a yard in Clavette since Sheercom's shutdown, which the Premier says is concerning for the provincial government. There's a new resource for residents impacted by wildfire damage in Denair Beach. The Community Resilience Center is open today and tomorrow from noon to 9 p.m. in the fire-ravaged village. The province says the center offers residents and business owners important updates, case management services, and helps navigate supports during the rebuilding process.
It's been kind of a whirlwind situation that we found ourselves in, and every day there seems to be something new. So I would really encourage people to drop by.
According to the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency, the center will be open 2 days a week at the Denairplex for the following weeks. Residents want to access supports can reach out to local leaders for more details. One person was taken to hospital last night after a house fire in West Regina. According to Regina Fire, crews were called to a home on a 4900 block of Sherwood Drive around 8:30. Firefighters arrived to heavy smoke conditions, but were able to bring the fire under control. The fire does remain under investigation, and as you can see, a couple of pets were saved in the process. A teenage girl accused of setting her classmate on fire has changed her trial election. The 15-year-old was originally set to face a jury, but has now opted for a judge-alone trial. She is charged with attempted murder after allegedly dousing another student at Evan Hardy Collegiate in a flammable liquid and setting her on fire in September of 2024. Under a publication ban, neither the accused nor the victim can be identified. Trial dates have not been set. University of Regina played host to a global carbon capture and storage event. Presenters and students from 32 countries, including Canada, the U.S., Europe, and Australia, all congregated at the U of R for part of a week-long program on carbon capture and storage. The event comes to the Queen City every second year due to Saskatchewan and Canada being a global leader in carbon capture and storage.
So here in Saskatchewan, Sask Power has the world's first carbon capture and storage on a power plant, a coal-fired power plant in Estevan. So actually yesterday, we all went out to the power plant and toured it.
The program had more than 200 student applications this year, of which 50 were selected to take part. As discussions over nuclear power continues in the province, Regina NDP MLA Alina Young is returning from Ontario, where she was meeting with workers and industry leaders in the sector.
Young people are deeply concerned about the economy and about the environment, and what I hear from them time and time again is a real openness when it comes to nuclear power and what that could mean for a province like Saskatchewan.
Stops included a full fuel cycle for nuclear, from production of fuel to power plants to the Nuclear Waste Management Organization, a group that just completed a 15-year process on how to go about storing nuclear waste. Young says that people in Saskatchewan that are young have expressed an interest for the limited waste nuclear energy creates over other forms of power generation. Saskatchewan is aiming to have a small modular nuclear reactor online by the mid-2030s, with a final decision on whether or not to move the project ahead no later than 2029. Saskatchewan Research Council has added a new high-tech piece of machinery to its arsenal of mining equipment. Now, this is a laser sorter. It's used in the mining industry to separate valuable minerals from waste based on geological differences detected by sensors. Removing waste early can save money and reduce energy use for mining companies.
What SRC provides for critical mineral exploration is an opportunity to understand technology integration into new mining processes. This can be from greenfields and exploration to brownfields, where they're integrating new techniques into their existing processes. Because sensor-based sorting is a fairly new technology to mining, it's understanding how you evaluate the different ore deposits and how you then exploit those properties.
The machine means the Research Council can offer full-scale sorting services through X-ray transmission. Well, home to the Saskatchewan Legislative Building and the University of Regina, Wascana Center has long been a gem in the heart of the city. Its beauty is the result of decades of careful planning, and as Wayne Manteca tells us, the center has unveiled a new master plan for its future.
Nick has this.
Nick and Barb Ugelmi come to the flower garden at the Legislative Building every year on Barb's birthday.
We love nature, especially flowers and things like that, you know, and here is an ideal thing.
They have happy memories of coming to Wascana Park over the decades.
Took our children here into the park, you know, for walking and looking around and things like that.
Wascana Center has gradually evolved and expanded over the years. The latest change is to the shoreline near the Legislative Building, with new pathways and additional benches.
Now you can sit here. Before we used to sit within in one seat over there. They'll set. Now you can couple blocks, you can sit again.
I really enjoy it. I think it's a good thing that the city is doing all these improvements here, yes.
It's all carefully planned out with a new master plan developed every 10 years. The latest version has just been unveiled.
One things that we're going to be working on is continuing to invest in the pathway system, renewing our picnic sites, renewing our washrooms, and then we also have an example of if we were to do a seasonal lane closure.
The final draft of the 2025 Wascana Center Master Plan can be found on the center's website.
So the final draft is posted on wascana.ca, and anybody can take a look. They can download the draft and email your feedback.
Wascana Park was founded in 1912 before being incorporated into Wascana Center a half-century later. The governance structure may have changed over the years, but this latest master plan will ensure it remains the most cherished part of the city. Wayne Mantica, CTV News, Regina.
Sabine joins us for our first look at weather. Not a bad day for a walk in the park with Wayne Mantica, but we do have some warnings popping up tonight.
Yeah, the active weather is returning coming from Alberta. Lee, the development of some thunderstorms starting in the southwest Alberta is starting to make its way into Saskatchewan, southwest Saskatchewan to be exact. So we do have some watches, severe thunderstorm watches in effect, but just maybe minutes ago, one has updated to a severe thunderstorm warning, and that is for the area around Mankota. So again, the Environment Canada is tracking the severe thunderstorm coming through. Development of damaging wind gusts, damaging hail, and torrential rain is what's expected with this system that's coming through. Now, much of these systems are expected to diminish by later this evening, and there is more rain on the way. But again, temperatures remained within seasonal by a couple degrees. We're still in the 20s for many parts, especially in southern Saskatchewan. The average is about 25, 26 degrees. Regina got up to about 22 degrees today. We will continue to see a slight warm up, but then, like I said, the rain is returning for the weekend, and I'll have more details in your full forecast. Lee?
Thank you, Sabine. Another edition of the Saskatchewan Crop Report has been released, where moisture was the key talking point once again. Over the past week, some areas such as Pontex and Shaunavon received rainfall that will benefit most crops, but the precipitation has delayed haying operation in those areas. Cooler conditions over the past week should bring some crop development, but many regions are hoping for additional moisture to reduce crop stress and sustain topsoil moisture conditions. Cropland topsoil moisture across the province currently rated at about 60% adequate. Crops are in normal stages of development, consistent with what has been reported in previous weeks. Well, you're going to get a hoot out of this. 17 baby burrowing owls have recently hatched in the prairies. Sierra D'Souza Butts tells us how people can do their part at an important time of year for these birds.
Visiting the Saskatchewan Burrowing Owl Interpretive Center, 14-year-old Ariana English says she enjoys seeing the grassland birds.
They're interesting creatures, to be honest. I've never really gotten a good look at them, and they're really hard to find, so seeing them for first is really exciting.
However, with the species being endangered, English says she hopes people become more aware.
I think that more people should come here and learn about the owls and learn more about their habitats and how to save them.
In effort to teach people about burrowing owls in the prairies, the Saskatchewan Burrow Owl Interpretive Center is providing tours all summer long.
We're here to help educate the public about the burrowing owls and their endangered status here in Canada. We want to give people information about the owls, about their prairie habitat, and what they can do to help ensure that future generations get to enjoy burrowing owls in the wild.
The native wildlife species is a highly endangered bird in Canada and can be spotted around the prairies, specifically along the southern parts of Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Manitoba, as well as Okanagan and BC. With there being less than 1,000 western burrowing owls across the country, Johnson shares how people can do their part to help by lending a hoot.
To keep doing it, to ensure that that message keeps getting out to the public. Because the more people who know about these little guys, the better off their future is going to be here in Canada.
The center will be open until the September long weekend, where people can view its 13 adult burrowing owls and the 17 baby ones. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Moose Jaw.
Saskatchewan's Festival of Words is in Moose Jaw for its 29th installment. The Writers' Festival is an opportunity for authors to show their work with workshops, reading sessions, and slam poetry. To kick off the next few days, the Hockey Skates by Carl Subban was read to children, featuring a story on how former NHL player PK Subban found a love for the game of hockey. The festival will end on Sunday with a few events happening at the Cosmo Seniors Center.
I think it's more to showcase a lot of the work that's already been done. It's kind of more of an event like that. And it's not always local. It has been local authors, but it's definitely Canadian authors, but they're not necessarily from Saskatchewan. So I feel like I see a lot of joy in my job, so I love that part about it. And also kind of instilling the love of reading with young children. That's another definite bonus of this job, for sure.
The festival will end on Sunday with a few events happening at the Cosmo Seniors Center. And Back to Potosh is officially underway. The 4-day festival began with an elders breakfast, then moved into chariot and chuck wagon racing in the afternoon with a fish fry for lunch. Opening ceremonies are scheduled for tomorrow morning, followed by a fiddle competition. Potosh Days began in 1970 and is a celebration of Métis culture, history, and language.
I just want our people, even from across our province, our Canada, I should say, in regards to the people that are showing up here, even from different countries that show up here, and it has grown. You know, from the last 2 years, it's over 40,000, and we expect more this year. So it's continuing to grow, keep improving the grounds, and have a place for our people to celebrate our history.
Prince Albert's Rebecca Strong is taking the stage tonight. The 21-year-old singer won Season 3 of Canada's Got Talent. Still ahead, Indigenous leaders meet with the Prime Minister over Bill C-5 concerns. An increased spending in the military won't save Canada from a recession. The Prime Minister heard from First Nation leaders from across the country at a summit focused on the major projects legislation. Some Indigenous people are concerned it gives too much power to the government to push through projects without proper consultation, and today's meeting did not really squash those concerns. Abigail Bimman has the latest.
Conversations today are about hearing from you as participants.
And Prime Minister Mark Carney had much to listen to, hosting a First Nations major project summit with leaders who came from right across the country.
He's got to come up with some commitments, firm commitments.
Many are concerned about C-5, the Building Canada Act, worried it allows Cabinet to quickly grant federal approvals without proper consultation.
What is consent, and also rights of refusal if First Nations are not wanting to participate.
All the resources of Canada belongs to the First Nation people, and they never ask us for any input.
This is the first federal legislation to put Indigenous economic growth at its core.
When it wrapped, there was some cautious optimism.
The agenda was, I would say, abandoned to accommodate the speeches of the chiefs and the concerns of the chiefs, which I feel was a good move on the Prime Minister's part.
I'm glad that the Prime Minister and Cabinet Minister stayed all day.
Outside the closed-door summit, emotions ran high.
This is what we call our native land.
These protesters came from Northern Ontario, concerned about the Ring of Fire development.
And you cannot just take it for your own because of your stupid money. These bills, they're overriding our laws. They're not asking us our permission.
While, of course, not everyone is opposed to major projects if they're done properly.
As First Nations, we also need to start moving that forward a little bit with projects like this so that we can advance our people a little bit more.
This is the first meeting the Prime Minister holds with Indigenous leaders this summer. The next is with Inuit leaders. Meanwhile, the Grand Chief of the Assembly of First Nations is calling for another summit like this one next year. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Gatineau, Quebec.
Next week, more than 53,000 unionized Canadian Post or Canada Post workers will begin voting on what the Crown Corporation says is its final contract offer. The deal includes a wage hike of more than 13% over 4 years, but would also see part-time jobs added for weekend parcel delivery service. That is something the Canadian Union of Postal Workers has pushed back against. The union has urged members to reject the deal. Ottawa's massive boost in military spending will not be enough to stave off a recession this year. That's according to a new analysis conducted by Oxford Economics, a global think tank. CTV's Judy Trin has more on the glowing impact of the trade war.
From boosting the pay of soldiers to buying new equipment, the Canadian government will spend $9 billion more this fiscal year on the military, boosting the bottom line of companies like Hepburn Engineering that makes refueling equipment for Canada's Navy.
The defense area is going to be more robust for the next several years because that's where the demand's going to be, where we have a world that's a lot more dangerous.
With that spending, Canada will finally meet the 2% NATO target. But growth in the defense industry may not be enough to protect the country from recession.
Defense spending will help to offset some additional further negative impacts, but we do think the Canadian economy is already in a recession, and it will really take an early resolution of the trade war to get us out of that.
Oxford Economics projects that Canada will be in a trade war until the end of 2025, and that 140,000 jobs could be lost. The impacts are already being felt in steel, aluminum, and auto industries.
The direct hit from the trade war will soon begin to broaden to other sectors of the economy and lead to a much broader, more widespread downturn.
Meanwhile, Hepburn is expanding. It has 100 employees and is hiring more as it competes for new military contracts.
We expect this will continue, but we have to wait. The business has to come our way, and then we make sure we're big enough to be able to handle it. And so we've added a number of employees this year, and if things keep growing, we'll add more.
Economists are now focused on August 1st. That's the deadline for a new trade deal between Canada and the U.S. Earlier this week, Prime Minister Mark Carney said it's unlikely Canada will emerge from those negotiations without being hit with some form of tariff. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
We haven't heard much about measles in Saskatchewan lately. The only exposure risk this month was announced last week in Roughriders. But Alberta is a bit of a different story. 36 new cases have been reported in the last 24 hours. Terry Fikowski traveled to Taber, a small town that's becoming a persistent hotspot.
It's the Alberta town well known for its corn, but lately the quiet community of nearly 10,000 has become known as a hotbed for measles.
It sheds a negative light on our area.
Alberta's making too big of a deal about it. I feel like it's another flu-like symptom. We've had it, and it is manageable.
There are signs of the outbreak, like this one, trying to stop the highly contagious disease from entering the local emergency department. The South Health Zone accounts for nearly 60% of the province's total cases, and a blanket measles warning covers the whole region.
And our kids were all vaccinated. We were vaccinated. We're of that generation.
It's sad. It's to see all these kids that are sick.
Taber has some of the lowest measles vaccination rates in Alberta, with just shy of 29% of children under 2 having the recommended 2 doses of vaccine in 2024, allowing the disease to run rampant.
People have got rashes or difficulty breathing and stuff, and they're asking these questions, how to handle and treat these things, and we just try to guide them as best we can.
Many people believe the low uptick is due to a mix of religious beliefs and anti-vaccine views.
My grandkids had measles, and they weren't that sick. They were sick, but not that sick.
And I had 4 days fever, but I didn't have a spot. Nothing to be scared of.
But Morgan Birch from Fort Saskatchewan strongly disagrees.
She was so swollen. Her eyes were like swollen shut.
Her 4-month-old baby, Kimmy, was hospitalized in the spring after catching measles, too young to be immunized.
It was scary because you don't know what's going to happen.
But ICU doctors treating more serious cases see firsthand just how dangerous measles can be.
That can be brain inflammation. But even with the breathing issues, requiring more breathing support, needing ICU care for that, so having a breathing tube to help you breathe are some of the things that we're encountering.
But Cameron Hazel hopes those outcomes can be avoided with more education.
It's been a little eye-opening. You made a choice when your children are young not to vaccinate them, and I spoke with one person who said that was probably the worst choice they ever made, but that's just one.
The British government is planning to let people as young as 16 years old vote.
I think it's really important to give the younger generation an opinion and a vote on a lot of the issues that are facing the UK.
I completely agree with this, I don't see why not. I don't see why not.
It still needs to be approved by Parliament, but once approved, the hope is it would encourage more people to participate in a democratic system. Turnout in last year's general election was 59%, the lowest in the UK in more than 20 years. Coming up, it's not your average dance party, how an Edmonton cafe is showcasing Ukrainian culture in a unique way.
Basketball summer camps underway. Tuxedo Courts and the Open Door Society are teaming up to give young hoopsters a chance to get in the game.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live. Weekdays 6 to 9.
Welcome back. Time to check into what we can expect heading into Friday and the weekend. Different story depending on where you are in the province. We did see some rain coming through Saskatoon. Did warm up to about 24 degrees today. Regina, a little cooler, warmed up to 22 degrees. No rain yet. And currently sitting at 20 degrees with the winds just under 20 kilometers an hour. Mostly cloudy conditions for much of the day today. As I mentioned earlier, again, we are seeing some severe thunderstorm watches in effect in the southwest. You can basically see that storm system coming through. And then one area, which is the Mankota and surrounding area, Environment Canada tracking a thunderstorm there with the capability of strong, dangerously damaging winds to develop in that area, along with Toonie-sized hail and torrential rain. So something to keep in mind if you happen to be in that area. Stay indoors if you do not need to be outdoors. And we are expecting, it does look like we're expecting to see some of these storms start to calm and diminish as we head into later in the evening. Now, that's not the end of the rain, especially for the southwest or really the southern part of the province. I'm going to get away from this map and give you a closer look at what you can expect. So tonight, again, right where we're seeing in the Maple Creek area some of that heavier precipitation and storm activity coming through, a lot of that clears out by the time we head into tomorrow, and it won't be until later tomorrow afternoon. Late afternoon, we start to see a little bit more of that rain returning, this time in the Parkland around the Yorkton area. That system clears out, leaving us with a pretty mostly sunny, clear day for much of the day Friday in much of the province. And it's not until we get into Saturday where we'll start to see more of that cloud cover rolling in and another system coming in from Alberta. Saturday morning into the western part again, Swift Current seeing a lot of that storm activity. Then coming through Swift Current, Assiniboia, Regina getting that rain and possibly some storm activity late afternoon Saturday, along with the southeast. We can see a lot of that storm activity mostly lingering between Assiniboia and Estevan. And that system eventually moving, and then more of that heavy rain expected in the Assiniboia area. In terms of what we can expect for rainfall, I can give you some rainfall totals between now into Saturday. Sunday is looking like we will see heavier rainfall coming through southern Saskatchewan, but this is an updated look. Again, mirroring what that tracker is showing us, Assiniboia could see just under 40 millimeters of rain. 2 expected for Regina. I would suspect we could see a little bit more than that on Saturday, and then again, we're in the teens for Swift Current Moose Jaw, seeing mid to high teens for rainfall totals. And the rain is expected to continue, like I said, into Sunday. For the Regina area in particular, seeing up to about 15 millimeters of rain on Sunday. Temperatures will continue to get warmer into that average range, as you can see for many parts in northern Saskatchewan. La Loche, La Ronge, 25 for Lloydminster, 26 for Prince Albert and La Loche. Yeah, 27 degrees, a lot more sunshine. But as we get more into central southern Saskatchewan, we'll see more cloud cover rolling in. Saskatoon rain tonight, 23 tomorrow for Saskatoon, 24 and sunny for Yorkton, 26 and mainly sunny for North Battleford. The southwest seeing more of that cloud cover tonight, cooler lows, and tomorrow though getting back into that average range of about 25 degrees, 24 for Weyburn, Assiniboia tomorrow, and 23 for Estevan. And Regina tonight dipping to 9 with mostly clear conditions, 24 and mainly sunny tomorrow. Again, we might see some little scattered showers in the late afternoon, but this is what your next 7 days is looking like. I know a lot of people aren't very excited about this, but 24 mainly sunny tomorrow. We'll see that sun arrive with some possibility of storm activity late tomorrow, or sorry, Saturday afternoon. 23 is the expected high. Sunday, the rain continues again with a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. 24 degrees is the expected high. 24 mainly sunny Monday. The rain returning on Tuesday. As of right now, looks like could be about 2 to 4 millimeters of rain on Tuesday. 22 is the daytime high there. Wednesday, mix of sun and cloud, 22 degrees. And next Thursday, it's looking like it's going to be a good day. Mainly sunny and 27 degrees is the expected daytime high. So the rest of this week into the weekend, maybe it's the perfect time to just stay indoors and do stuff.
So in Regina, when's the rain coming Saturday?
Late afternoon. So around 3, 4 o'clock, we could expect to see that rain arrive late.
Well, so there's still some early afternoon.
You got the whole morning into the afternoon, and then expect to see that, you know, a perfect time if you are doing any gardening. That rain is going to arrive later in the afternoon, so you'll get that lawn watered if you want to cut your grass.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
No, okay, we're not doing that.
Thanks, Sabine.
Yeah.
A Ukrainian cafe in Edmonton is hosting daytime dance parties, and it's aiming to showcase Ukrainian culture in a unique setting. CTV's Merrick Tkach has more.
A pierogi spinning beats on one side of the cafe, staff serving Ukrainian dishes on the other.
I feel very energetic. Usually I'm not like going to parties, but this is my party.
Like most of the staff at Danya Kitchen, Sofia Stolarenka was born in Ukraine. She moved to Canada last February after Russia's invasion of her country.
All of our staff have connections back in Europe, back in Ukraine, and so they were showing us these parties with like music and DJs, and today we've got our pierogi DJ to add the Danya flair.
This is Danya's first dance party, an idea inspired by morning coffee shop raves in Ukraine.
They do it like almost like every week in Kyiv now, even with like all the news that's happening, so they try to kind of like live their life on and they're trying to like boost people's mood, because like of course it's hard to live with everything that's happening and with the war.
Organizers hope to attract downtown workers for a different lunch break experience.
It just has to pick up like some time to like adjust for like people, you know, like sometimes it's hard once it's something new, like people never seen it before.
Danya's dance parties are scheduled for 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. every Wednesday.
Sometimes we get caught up in everything that's going on and all the work and all the stress, and like what better way than to just music it out. Yeah.
Merrick Tkach, CTV News, Edmonton.
Still ahead, the Riders aren't running away from their rushing attack despite a poor performance versus the Stampeders.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
16 yards. That's all the Riders could gain on the ground versus the Calgary Stampeders, despite having the best rushing attack in the CFL heading in. As Donovan Mays tells us, the green and white are running away. They're not going to run away, of course, from their bread and butter, the rushing attack.
Roughrider running backs A.J. Ouellette and Kadeem Carey hope to be the CFL's newest dual threat on the ground.
No matter what the score is, pressure of the game, and he knows the offense. Smart running back, physical running back.
He gets it done, and, you know, put that in my arsenal. So I love having him right next to me.
And it couldn't come at a better time.
A.J. Ouellette, nothing going on the ground yet today.
Last week against the Stampeders, the Rider backfield combining for just 16 yards rushing, averaging less than 2 yards per carry.
I was more of not what they were doing, more of what we were doing. We just got to play better. Wake-up calls are good every now and then.
You got to be balanced while doing what you're good at. Riders offensive coordinator Mark Mueller says the run game got away from its identity of bullying other teams at the line, which has made the run game so successful to this point of the year.
For us is just find ways to stay on the field. I mean, early in that game, it was 3 or 4 2-and-outs in a row, and when we had a little bit of momentum, they got us off the field with turnover.
Carey has appeared in just 2 games since joining the Riders earlier this season, but the former Argo rushed for 1,000 yards last year and could be just what this Rider offense needs.
They're that much different. They're both really good, well-rounded backs, and we'll trust them to run the offense the way that we run it.
I feel like we're just trying to figure out what's the best plays to put out there with me and AJ, and the way to attack the defense. So we're slowly getting into it, but their time will come, and it's going to be pretty explosive when it does.
I would like some more, just deep threats down the field.
The Riders hope to pounce on a Lions defense which surrendered nearly 190 yards rushing to Saskatchewan just 3 weeks ago. Donovan Mays, CTV News, Regina.
Moving to a new country with a completely different culture can be difficult. That's why the Bring Them Up Foundation is hosting a basketball camp for newcomers in Regina, bringing people together through sport. Brittany Poitras has the details.
This week, more than 50 immigrant and refugee youth are coming together to play basketball. In May, a group called Bring Them Up raised over $75,000 for the Open Door Society to provide free sports camps.
So my hope is, not everybody's going to make the NBA or the Cougars basketball team, but what it will do is just create what team is, how to work with each other.
Co-founder BK Waldu came to Canada as a refugee and went on to play university football. He knows how important it is to make sports more accessible.
You know, sports, to me, has guided me to where I am today. I think it's very important that you stay focused, and sports helps you stay focused.
The camp supplies each youth with a jersey, a water bottle, a new pair of shoes, and a chance to feel supported.
I was feeling lonely so much. When I came here, I found people. We were talking together. We had something in common. We all love basketball.
Co-founder and former Cougars basketball player Bree Burgess says she wants the athletes to learn that it's more than just a game.
If everybody learned that at this camp, you know, the importance of feeling supported and supporting other people, I think this camp would be a huge success.
For some participants, being involved is the best part.
I'm finally out of the house. I hate being at home. I need to be active.
The 5-day camp wraps up on Friday, but Bring Them Up plans to continue to uplift and support immigrant and refugee youth.
Many people are spending a ton of time on a golf course this summer, including some young golfers. These young golfers learning through a group called First Tee, which aims to both teach kids how to golf and about the life skills the sport brings. The program is open to kids age 6 to 9 and age 10 to 13 during July and August at Regina's Lakeview Par 3. According to the coach, one of the biggest skills golf teaches is patience.
Getting kids involved in golf is more than just the sport itself. It's about what the sport teaches us. It teaches us how to do hard things. It teaches us how to persevere. It teaches us how to be patient with friends or other groups that we may be waiting for on the course.
Muller says these kids can then carry those skills to school and other activities they're involved in. First Tee runs programs like this on courses in Swift Current, Moose Jaw, and Saskatoon. Coming up, celebrating National Bison Week at Wascana.
Let's take a look at your rural forecast heading into tomorrow. So we are going to start to see those seasonal temperatures and conditions for many parts of the province tomorrow. A lot more sunshine for tomorrow before the clouds and rain roll in on Saturday. So this is what we've got going on in parts around Lloydminster. Spiritwood, 25, mainly sunny, 24 and a mix of sun and cloud for Hudson Bay, 27 for Meadow Lake tomorrow, mainly sunny conditions. And then over in the in the Wynyard area, 23 mainly sunny, 24 for Outlook and Kindersley, mainly sunny conditions. The closer we get to the southern border, we could see a little bit more of that cloud cover rolling in, especially in the southwest. Temperatures, some areas in the seasonal range, like Leader and Maple Creek tomorrow, 25 degrees, 24 and mainly sunny for Lumsden, Pilot Butte, 23 and a mix of sun and cloud for Kenora and Carlisle, and Broadview, 23, but seeing a little bit more sunshine. And East End Cypress looking like the cooler end of the area in southern Saskatchewan, 22 degrees and a mix of sun and cloud. But if we take a closer look at Grenfell, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel, located about 175 kilometers east of Regina. Tomorrow, mainly sunny conditions, 22 degrees. We'll see a little warm up on Saturday. By Sunday, Grenfell could see up to 20 millimeters of rain, but I'll have a more updated look on those numbers tomorrow for you.
It's National Bison Week, and Wascana Heritage Park is highlighting the cultural and ecological importance of bison. Stacey Hine has more.
Here at Wascana Heritage Park, this herd has a very important job.
Bison are regarded as a keystone species. Without the bison on this landscape, much as a building would crumble and fail without the keystone, these environments would similarly crumble and begin to fail.
Bison behaviors create conditions and habitats that can benefit other plants and animals. Their waste incubates insect eggs and larvae, and in turn, many endangered prairie birds later eat those insects. They They also spread seeds as they travel, and birds use their fallen fur for nesting. While bison were almost extinct nearly 150 years ago, they've made a comeback. In 2019, a small herd of 11 bison came to Wascana. That herd has now grown to more than 50 bison, and they're making a big impact on the ecosystem.
We've seen the rejuvenation of a lot of different specific animal species, their populations, and we've also seen kind of new species that should be part of this environment start to slowly come back into play.
Bison also have spiritual significance in many Indigenous cultures and were historically used for a variety of things, including food, clothing, and ceremonial purposes.
Bison have such a huge history here on the plains, and they are so intertwined with the history of Indigenous people as well. So learning about the bison, you're going to learn about the importance of the land here. You're going to learn about Indigenous culture.
National Bison Week aims to share the story of the bison and celebrate their cultural and ecological roles.
Because it is National Bison Week, coming out here and spending time with the bison is a really great way to kind of understand Wascana's story in its complete form.
National Bison Week ends Saturday. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Markets both up today. The TSX up 233 points, just beating out the Dow Jones, up 229 points. Canadian dollar, it went down a little more than 0.3 cents to 72.74 cents U.S. On the commodity front, gold down $8.16. West Texas Intermediate crude up $1.04, while Western Canadian Select crude was down 18 cents. And gas in Regina, no change, currently sitting at $1.31.9 cents per liter.
Hello there. Canadian bank shares climbed to a new high today, and that helped to push the Toronto Composite Stock Index to its own record, north of 27,300. Retail sales came in stronger than expected, and a drop in jobless claims pointed to economic strength. One market watcher told Bloomberg, quote, "The consumer came back to life in June." Toronto shares were also lifted by an 8% jump in convenience store empire Alimentation Couche-Tard. The company has dropped its bid to buy Japan's Seven & I Holdings, the owner of 7-Eleven, which had stoutly resisted the approach. The U-turn means Couche-Tard won't have to do a massive stock issue to help pay for the deal, which was valued at more than $40 billion US. But the Canadian parent of Circle K faces challenges. The stock is down 7% this year as investors worry about a drop in spending at its U.S. stores. That's the latest in business. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
Coming up tonight after the newscast, transplant followed by good cup, bad cup. And we got a three-peat of the Big Bang Theory for you. And E-Talk, local news at 11:30, national news just before at 11. A Regina musician appeared on CTV's Battle of the Generations last night. Here's how he did.
Which singer was Mariah Carey referencing when she said, "I don't know her" in a now famous viral clip? You could win it all right here.
J-Lo.
Jennifer Lopez is correct. Yes. Please,
Pop singer Tesher went on to get one more question right, increasing his total winnings to $25,000, which will go towards the Regina Immigrant Women's Center.
It's not over yet.
We are trying to fund certain areas of our programming that are not government funded for women and their families, such as transportation, sometimes childminding costs, and activities that otherwise a lot of the immigrant women may not have access to.
So the center helped more than 4,000 clients last year, and Tesher is one of several Saskatchewan contestants that have appeared on the show this season.
Well, and that leads me to ask this, you, Sabine. How do you think you would do on a trivia show?
On that one in particular, or anyone?
I guess anyone.
I feel like that one I could do, because it's like generational and like pop culture stuff. I feel like
simple stuff like, where's Mac the Moose? Moose jaw.